Hey guys, how is it going? It's Dmitry here. In this tutorial I'm super excited because I'm going to discuss about new feature that just was introduced in JavaScript, because it's it's part of the ES11, and which is officially was released in June 2020, right? So guys, let's jump into that. Guys, today I'm going to discuss about private class variable. That's the actual topic, right? And let's just start coding in order to understand what kind of functionality it is and why it is super exciting to have one. Okay guys, first of all I'm going to define a class, and I will call it car. And inside of this class I'm going to define a new variable, and I will call it brand. And I'm going to say Mercedes. So guys, nothing special about that, right? That's how we define the actual variable, right? And variable is going to be accessible outside of this class, right? So, and in order to work with this variable outside of the actual class, right, we can do that. Const new car. I'm going to instantiate actual car class, and I'm going to say new car, and that's how you're doing that, right? So, and then I'm going to log out the actual brand variable, and in order to access it I'm going to say new car dot brand, right? And essentially that's how you're accessing like variables which is inside of this class, right? Let's run it, guys. And it works, right? It's working because it makes sense. And again, this variable it's just accessible outside of the class, right? It's a global one. So but guys, this new feature that was introduced, or new functionality that was introduced in June 2020, it allows us to encapsulate or define the actual scope for this variable, right? Scope inside of which we can use this variable, right? Or access this variable. So guys, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. First of all, guys, in order to activate this functionality we have to use this syntax hashtag, right? Which is a bit awkward, and I know that many people they kind of arguing about this new feature, right? Why they decided to stick with this hashtag, right? Instead of, I don't know, define like a keyword private or something like that, right? But the problem is like for instance the keyword private, I guess why they decided to stick with this hashtag, they probably decided that in the future it's not going to interfere with any other logic, right? So, and yeah, I mean I understand that again probably it's not that the most strong explanation, but that's my understanding, guys. So guys, anyway, we just have to use it, and it's nothing we can do about that, right? Because this feature or this functionality it was approved, and yeah, that's it's official release now, guys. Because now this it's a private, right? It's not a global variable anymore, it's a private one, and it's only can be accessed inside of this class, right? So then what we can do, guys, I'm going to define a new function. function, and I'm going to say get brand, and guys, inside I'm going to say return and this dot brand. And guys, it's not going to work anyway, but I will show you why. So again, now this variable is private, right? But this function, you still can access it, right? I clearly can access it. And so obviously, because it looks like because I can access this function, right, probably I can access this variable, right? But reality is, guys, if you run it, okay, first of all, we don't need this function here. So guys, if I run it here, right, you can see straight away it's undefined, right? So I still cannot access this brand variable, right? So what's wrong here? Again, in order to access it here, we still have to define hash. And now, guys, it's going to work. So guys, the beauty is still, because this variable is private, right, it can only be accessed inside of the class, right? It cannot be accessed outside of the class. But because this function, it's not private, right, and we can call this function outside of this class because it's not private, right, then we can use this private variable here, right, and receive some stuff back, right, from this function, even if it was, or if it is a private, right? And I guess that's the beauty of that. So essentially, it just allows you kind of to encapsulate data, and in some cases this functionality can be really useful. For example, you going to make changes in this function, and because you cannot use this variable outside of this class, right, you know straight away that, okay, if this variable was changed, for example, right, this function going to influence only on the functionality that's calling this function, right, and pretty much it, right, because nobody else is using this variable anymore, right, only this function essentially, or only the functionality outside of the class that calling this function, right? So, and that's it's kind of allowing you to narrow the scope when you try to troubleshoot stuff. And I think that's one of the beauty of this new functionality, guys. Hope, guys, it makes sense, and I pretty much explain what this private class variable is all about. And hopefully, guys, you as excited as I am. And please, guys, like this tutorial if you like it, and please, guys, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and following my tutorials, guys. I would really appreciate it, guys. And I'm going to wrap up, guys, for now, because I'm done with this topic. Thank you very much, guys, and goodbye.